Welcome to the Den of Tools.
Howdy ho, guys and gals, it's Red, your friendly neighborhood tool bear, back again here in the old Den of Tools. And today we're talking Makita. In fact, not just Makita, we're talking the Makita XGT line. This is their new 40/80 volt line of power tools. Everything from radios and fans and lights and circ saws and rotary tools, sliding miter saws, grass trimmers, impact wrenches, blowers, a slew of grinders, of course chargers as well, and a bunch of tools that would typically be seen as why go 40 volt with this when 20 volt seems good enough? Well, we're going to talk about all that and more here, and it's the reasons why and what they're trying to do here. In fact, the news on this came out last week. I know you may think the bear's a little slow on this, but I wanted to see if I could get some more information, kind of wrap my head on as to where they were going with this. Now, the big takeaway is that the XGT line is going to be a whole new standalone line, and the LXT line is not going anywhere. Yes, I know some of our friends across the pond, you've got the G series, that's a pro value. I often refer to it as a prosumer grade tool. I don't think that's going to be making an impact here in the US anytime soon. And anyway, they're going to be keeping all of these lines plus the 12 volt line, so none of that is going away. What they're trying to do with the XGT, and this is key, is they're trying to approach the guys and gals who on a job site, usually on the bigger job sites, they're using a corded tool, or they're using gas, or they're using air. And this is going to allow them to have an entirely cordless job site. That's what they're going after. And then they've got a bunch of other tools in there, as I said, you wouldn't normally need, like say a drill driver. Not most people, even on bigger job sites, may not need an impact driver or a drill driver or some of these other tools. They don't need a 40 volt one. And the reason for this, though, is maybe you do, but also this way, if you do need those bigger tools, you can have one tool line and you don't have to be having two tool lines on the job site. And I guess that makes sense. Now, the way they're approaching this whole system here is they're trying to make every part of the system better, more robust, faster, basically improving everything they can get their little paws on. Now, we got the built-in microchips. Of course, all the better systems these days have a microchip in the tool and in the battery. The two talk to each other, and like any good relationship, good communication is key. Lets you know how the other one's doing. If the tool says, hey, I need more juice, the battery can give it, unless the battery's like, hey, we're running a little too hot, we're not going to do that right now. That's important. Now, they're saying that they've got better tech they're putting in this, more up-to-date stuff. I guess only time will tell on that. Another thing they're doing here is with the battery system. Look at that. Isn't that a beautiful battery system? They've got all these new ways of doing the battery. First of all, they've enhanced the terminal connections. They've enhanced the welds and everything in it. Everything is more robust. It's hardier. On top of that, they're adding more zones of impact, if you will, and more space for air, basically making the case a little bit bigger. It allows for impact resistance and for airflow. And the airflow has become a big issue here because when it comes to charging, you got the airflow coming there because they've got fans in their charger. We talked about this recently with the Flex 24. You know, Ego's has had that on their system for a long time. A lot of manufacturers have had this. They were one of the first. Now, again, it's ambient air. I know it looks like it's a cooling system, but it's ambient air temperature. So if it's a really super hot day like down here in Vegas, you're only going to get so much out of it. In fact, it may end up making the situation worse, I guess. But one of the biggest changes is the way they're doing their motors. They're doing enhanced motors with, let me scroll up here, rare earth magnets, which is interesting because Mr. AVE said that was a fail when Harbor Freight did it, but apparently Makita is following along in Harbor Freight's footsteps and failing as well because, anyway, I don't know. But also they've got the pure copper wire in there because none of that, downgraded, cheap, contaminated street wire the kids are using. Only good pure copper wire. But anyway, the point is they're making more robust motors. They can, of course, handle more power coming from batteries that can put out more power with communication devices to manage the power and cooling so you can recharge the power in your batteries that much faster. All in all, basically an entire ecosystem that supports itself and allows you to use these tools to the maximum of their performance. Now, talking about max, we got 40 volt max and 80 volt max, but so far we've only seen 40 volt tools. How are they getting the 80 volt? Well, if you're familiar with Makita, you know the way they do it. When they had the 18 volt system, they wanted to go to 36, they just added a second battery on. Same thing here. Some of these tools will have an 80 volt, if they have an 80 volt option, it's going to take two of the 40 volt max tools, and that's how they're going to get to it. It's just that simple. keeps one battery. You don't have to then have yet again another battery option out there. I'm a big fan of this. I've spoken about this before, and even in cheaper lines, especially when they're trying to add outdoor power equipment, I think that ability to add 2 batteries to get that 40-volt system going, I think that's a great thing. I wish more people would do it. Now, as to these batteries, let's talk about this real quick. So we see the battery. If you look here, that looks like a normal size 20-volt, 5-amp-hour battery. And you know what? It is. What they've done is, instead of getting a 20-volt, 5-amp-hour battery, you've got a 40-volt, 2.5-amp-hour battery. It's the same amount of cells. It's just the way they wired them in the box there. And that allows them to also use the same charger to charge the LXT 18-volt batteries. You have to use an adapter plate on it, though, because the outputs are different. But it can manage it and it can do the same thing. But let's talk about trying to buy this thing. I went to Home Depot, which is listed as a reseller, and Home Depot doesn't even have their website. Maybe they've snuck them in stores somewhere. This was supposed to be out April 1st. It's April 5th. We're still not seeing it. You type in Makita XGT and it says we couldn't even find anything. A local big professional store here in Vegas, Fasteners Inc. They've got all the brands. They have tons of stuff. They don't have anything. The only place I've been able to find these for sale is some of the bigger online, the professional tool stores like Acme and CPO. Now, they will let you place an order and we can see the pricing, but as you see, estimated ship date, is April 21st. Makita, CPO is saying their estimated ship date is May 15th. Anyway, but look at this. We've got the Makita XGT 40-volt max impact driver kit, 4-speed. Now, this is a top-of-the-line impact driver for Makita, okay? But let's look at that price. I'm sitting there looking at this going, $400. I mean, yes, they've made the batteries better by adding some tweaks here and there, but this is evolution, not revolution, all right? This is not a significant change. They just made some of the parts of it better here. And these are essentially 5-amp-hour, 20-volt batteries, just wired differently to give us 2.5 amp in 40 volt. Same battery, same cells, just packaged differently. And we're looking at, now granted, I get it, the tool itself's been upgraded. It's a motor that can handle 40 volts. Still $400. Oh my gosh. But I guess the point is, they're not looking at you for buying this. They're looking at the guy who's going to buy the rotary hammer. They're looking at the guy who's trying to buy the 10.5-inch saw. They're looking at the guys who are buying the big industrial kind of stuff, the large commercial, and then who also need this and don't want to have a second battery line on the job site. I get it. We look at the circ saw there. This circ saw, this is a 7.25-inch circ saw, $402. Ooh, it better be a good circ saw. Anyway, that's the information we got on this 40/80 volt tool system. I think it's innovative the way they're doing this. I hope the pricing, the performance can match the pricing. I admittedly have been a fan bearer of Makita for years and years and years. I've always loved their tools. I have some of their tools. They make fantastic stuff. I just want to see them deliver on this because it's a great solution for the people who work on those kind of job sites. I'm a fan of going electric as much as possible, and this is the way that those people can do it. Anyway, if you like what you saw here, don't forget to go down there, leave a comment, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell, and of course, don't forget to chomp the old like button. Yeah, right. Anyway, that's all the Bear has for you today. If we get any more information, be sure that you've rung that bell because we'll be back to let you know everything that we learn about this line and more. Anyway, till next time, you take care, God bless, and as always, shine on.